An update from yesterday's broadcast at this time. We were talking about freedom of speech and how we don't want government being involved in freedom of speech and freedom of thought. Al Gore recently had an altercation with a journalist. The Spectator's Ross Clark asked him about the Miami sea level rises in the new film, An Inconvenient Sequel. The reporter started to explain that he had consulted Florida International University, the sea level rise expert, and Gore's response was, "Never heard of him. Is he a denier?" Then he looked at the journalist and said, "Are you a denier?" When Clark responded that he was sure climate change is a problem, but he didn't know how big, Gore then said, "You're a denier." Problem with that? Are you a Jew? Are you a Jew? Did somebody check into his family relationship? Are you have any Jewish blood in you? This is the way it happens. And I know that I have gotten in trouble for years by saying that hardcore global warming activists and people like Al Gore are using the tactics of Nazi Germany. But here it is. He's a denier. Are you a denier? To the press.
Yeah, and remember, it's not just believing that global warming is a real thing. It's believing that it's a real thing, that it's not just 50% or more caused by man, which some scientific reports claim, but it's all caused by man. And it's not just that. It's also that it is catastrophic. It's also that it's catastrophic right now. It's also that you must agree with the solutions to global warming. You must agree with large carbon taxes. You must agree with gigantic government intervention. If you don't hit every one of those things, you are a denier.
So here's Roger Pelkey. He's a political scientist who worked extensively on climate change. He believes that climate change is real, human emissions of greenhouse gases justify action, and that there should be a carbon tax. However, he's a denier because his research has shown that the increasing cost from hurricane damage is not caused by storms made more intense by climate change, but more and pricier property built in vulnerable areas. Even though his research has been proven right and the IPCC's subsequent outputs mostly accepted his arguments, he's now the target of a years-long campaign, including massive but baseless takedowns that later turned out to have been coordinated by Climate Campaigning, a think tank funded by a green billionaire, along with an investigation on him that was launched by a congressman. He finally left climate change for other fields where, quote, "no one is trying to get me fired." He's been sidelined. The problem here is we're not discussing anything anymore. Believe in climate change, but wonder how bad it's really going to be? You're a denier. That's Al Gore. You believe, but you argue that today's policies aren't the best? You're a denier. Ask Chile's environmental minister, because that's what he said. You believe, but you point out problematic findings or media reporting? No room for you. You're a denier. The expanding definition of denier and denial is an attempt to ensure that public and policymakers hear from a smaller and smaller group, really what we used to call in high school a clique. Even if an opinion is wrong, we debate. In America, the debate is called the battlefield of ideas. That was the quintessential idea of America, that we would get together and we could hash out anything and we could talk about it. Once you stop talking about it, the only thing that remains is physically fighting about it.